Well, the one thing that we do love is school, and also having the opportunity to be able to take part in a tertiary education, or even to have it in the first place. And even though it's a privilege, one of the things that have come up is that South Africa is desperately in need for skilled workers, whether it's in the position of law or medicine or engineering and even accounting. But latest statistics show that there are more university dropouts than what there are graduates. So we want to know what's wrong with the system. I mean, just looking at statistics, there's a disturbing picture that's clearly painted by the Council of Higher Education, but more than a third of the best performing groups, so those who went to a private school, basically failed to graduate within the first 5 years. Also, for a 3-year Bachelor of Commerce degree, an average of 48% graduate within the first 5 years of study. So there's all kinds of issues that relates to all of this, especially when you look at black or colored students. 5% of black and colored students who enter higher education complete their studies. So we want to know what's going on. Is there a problem with the education system? Is there a problem perhaps between the gap of everyone finishing school, going to their universities or even the tertiary education places? With us is Ibrahim Hussein from the St. Francis Education NGO to get some clarity on the matter. And my first question that I want to go into is, you know, why are so many kids, or as we call them, learners, dropping out? Good morning, Ibrahim. Are you there?
Good morning, Ilana. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I want to know, is it the tertiary education that's the problem, or is it, does this problem start in our schools?
I think, my first opening statement would be, to mainly ask two questions. And that is, firstly, at present, where are we ranked? And how many of our kids are actually reaching matric from grade 1? And that will answer the questions. And I think that not enough emphasis and encouragement to continue despite circumstances. And we must encourage independence, which will bring them out of poverty, and strive to complete education with accountability and responsibility. But it's really shocking that statistics shows that the dropout rate in South Africa is as such. The matriculants that wrote in 2012, 579,384 reached matric after being registered in grade 1. And the number of those matriculants that was in grade 1 was over 1,150,637 students.
Ibrahim, we're aware of the statistics. I want to get to, is the gap between school and tertiary educations too big? I mean, do you think that there needs to be something? I remember we used to call it the oorbruggingskursus, you know, where there's a gap year almost that prepares kids from school to where they go to university. I mean, how do we overcome the problem?
Okay, I think there is a gap. Definitely there's a gap. You know, in school, I think they're not taught how to think critically. They're repeating facts. 75% is summative. Instead of being taught the skill of thinking, learners are not accepted at university solely on merit. University requires a high intellectual level, and the responsibility of achieving outcomes relies on the student as opposed to school, okay, where constant monitoring takes place. However, if a learner is left independent at the university, he or she is accountable. Schools should therefore teach the skills to apply the knowledge they acquire in schools, to apply at the tertiary level. And even though we have 73.9% pass rate, we're still not competing and ranked poorly in comparison with many developing African countries, where poverty and limited resources is a greater problem than South Africa.
Okay. Well, Ibrahim, I can tell that you are as passionate as we are about it, and we appreciate your input this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
I am. Thank you so much.
Only a pleasure. Ibrahim from our education NGO that's giving us some details and also some light on the matter, and hopefully we can eventually overcome that gap, as we mentioned this morning. The saying goes, no one can write your matric exam other than you. So I guess the responsibility lies with every one of us. But when there's not a matric exam, there's always a holiday, right? Remember the times where you would go on a long trip and then you would stop at a garage to literally stretch your legs? Well, one of those things that's happened to Katlego, he literally goes out, stretches his legs, and makes sure that he finds his favorite shell sites. Let's take a look.